let us look at the topic of graph. Now, one of the first things when you talk about graph, one of the first things we have to look at is what is called the Cartesian plane. That's named after Rene Descartes. Right? So that's a Cartesian plane. Let me put his name here. First of all, the topic we're on to is graph, and what we're looking at here, how do they spell Cartesian? C-A-R-T-E-S-I-A-N. We're looking at the Cartesian plane. Now, what this thing is, it contains two straight lines that intersect at right angles. Alright? One of them is horizontal and the other one is vertical. A vertical line. So what does that look like? Let me just get a line coming this way and a line going that way. So this line, the first line I have, is the horizontal line, and it represents what we call the x-axis. It goes left to right to left to right, just like what you see when you look at out to the sea and you see the horizon, right? Horizontal. It goes across. Now the vertical is what you see on the side on the wall of a building going straight up. It's supposed to be vertical. It's a vertical line, and this is called the y-axis. So that is the y-axis, right? So this is the y-axis, and this one is the x-axis. So that's a Cartesian plane. Now right here where the cross, you call that the origin, right? So that is the origin. And the origin, let me just use let me just use this and highlight where it is. It's right there, right where both lines cross. That's the origin. Let me just get the origin away from here and kind of put it closer to the middle. Now, the horizontal line, as I said, is called the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis. The vertical line is called the vertical axis, and also known as the vertical line is called y-axis, also known as the vertical axis. Usually just say y-axis, x and y-axis, alright? So you have the x-axis and the y-axis. The point of intersection, that is where the cross, you call that the origin, usually represented by the letter O and the point 0, 0, alright? We're going to be looking at the numbers in a few minutes, or maybe next time if we don't have enough time in this video. So the Cartesian plane, that's used to plot points and hence to draw a graph using a system of rectangular coordinates. Co means together, and then you have ordinates representing the points. Alright, so in this system, a rectangular coordinate, in the system of rectangular coordinates, the origin, which is O, is what they call the point of reference. Right? Now, let's put a few numbers into this thing. Right here at the center, the origin, the number that represents that part of the graph is represented by 0. Usually write 0 on the left and below, on the left of the y-axis and below the x-axis. Alright, that's the usual practice of doing it. And you have numbers going upwards, +1, +2, there's +3, +4, +5, and so on and so forth. That's going up, are positive numbers. Below 0 now, you have negative numbers, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on and so forth. Alright? So, on the x-axis, going to the right are positive values. +1, +2, +3, +4, +5, and on it goes. On the left, that means on the left of the y-axis. Continuing on the x-axis, labeling the x-axis, the numbers are -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. Alright? So each point can uniquely be defined by stating a horizontal coordinate and a vertical coordinate. Or usually you just say x and y coordinates, x coordinate and y coordinate. Alright? Now, each point on x is an ordinate. Each point on y is also an ordinate. But when you make them come together, you say co. That means together, like your co-worker. Right? You cooperate. That means you operate along with other people together. So you have coordinates. Now, let us identify a certain point. If you want to identify a point, say right here, this point, usually you use x. Sometimes you might use a dot with a circle around it to identify a point, but I usually just use x. It's not really proper to use a dot like this because, well, I guess maybe the definition of a point is that it's a label that doesn't have any thickness. You're not supposed to be able to see it, so you use the dot with the circle, or use the x or the plus. Well, the x usually. I like using the x. But then this x that I have here, where is it located? Now I can see that if this all should be straight up. If I draw a little line downwards, I meet 4, so it's above 4, and to the left I meet 3, so it's beside 3. So therefore the coordinates of this point are 4, 3 in brackets. Note now, it is in the form x, y in round brackets. It is not 3, 4. That's not the case for this point. It is 4, 3 because you always put the x value first, the x coordinate first, followed by the y. Remember, in your alphabet, x comes before y. Alright? So it's x, y. So it's above that x point and beside that y point. What about here? I intentionally put this below the 3 and beside the 2, well, negative 2. So what are the coordinates of this point? The first number is the one along the x. It lines up with 3 on the x-axis, so I put 3 comma, and it's right beside negative 2, so it's negative 2 close bracket. What about this point right here? I had put it lining up below negative 4, not 4, below negative 4 on the x-axis, and beside negative 5 on the y-axis. So the coordinates of this point are, it lines up below negative 4 on the x-axis, so it's negative 4 comma, and it's beside 5 on the y-axis, 5. So it lines up with x and with negative 4 on the x-axis and negative 5, not 5, negative 5 on the y-axis. So the coordinates are negative 4, negative 5. Let me try this one. Now, which number on the x-axis is this point lined up along with? If you draw a line going up, that wouldn't help you. There are no numbers here, so let's draw the line going down. It could be an imaginary line too. If I go down, I want to keep this straight, I meet up on negative 5. So in writing the coordinates, the first number I write is negative 5 to represent what value of x it lines up with. What about y? I want to see which number it is beside. Well, it would make sense for me to go to the left. There are no numbers to the left, so let me go to the right. It's beside what? It's beside 3. So the y value that is beside is 3. So 3. So here it is above, whether it's above or below, once it lines up with this number on the x, it is above negative 5 and beside on the x-axis, and it's, remember, it's x first, comma, and then y. Which number does it line up beside on the y-axis? 3. So it is 3 here. So those are the x coordinates first in the bracket, comma, and the y coordinate. So the x ordinate and then the y ordinate. So what you have here are 4 points. Always put the x first. Which number is the point above or below? That is on x, that's what you put first, comma, which number is the point beside? Whether it's left or the right doesn't matter. Which number is it beside on the y-axis? That's what you put second. And you close the brackets, put a comma between those numbers, and what you have are the coordinates of the points. So what we'll do is continue next time with this topic. See you then.